In a previous video, I showed how to use PBR Painter to paint on rivet detail. Painting on this kind of detail is straightforward enough until you want to add rivets in straight rows. Getting rivets or bolts or whatever lined up and evenly spaced can be a pain. Fortunately, there is a way to accomplish this in Blender: the line stroke. Adding detail like rivets and bolts can be achieved using either alpha masks or normal stamps. Since PBR Painter is integrated into Blender as an add-on, the line stroke, alpha masks, and normal stamps can be used with PBR Painter. Open Blender and add a plane primitive. Increase the size to 20 meters by 20 meters. Place it at 0.2 meters on the Z-axis. Then apply rotation and scale. Switch to the PBR Painter workspace, and with the plane selected, add a material. Name it Metal. Select the Add Layer icon to add a layer. Name it Damaged Metal. Select Filled as the type and select OK. I am going to add PBR Material Texture Set Damaged Metal Surface PBR 0492 from textures.com. Select the Add Multiple Texture icon. Locate and load the PBR material texture set: albedo, metallic, normal, and roughness. Select the red Refreshed Materials to see the material on the plane mesh. Expand the texture mapping chevron and change the scale X and scale Y to 2.000. Save the Blender file. I'll save mine as pbrp 2.4_23.blend. A link to a copy is provided in the description to this video. To paint on rivets, I am going to use an alpha mask, sphere.png, that I downloaded from the internet. A link to a copy is also provided in the description of this video. Add a new layer, name it Rivets, and select Painted as the type. Set the resolution to, say, 2K, check 32-bit float, and select OK. Select the red Refresh Material. You can also select the Auto Refresh button so your subsequent changes will automatically be updated. In the Properties window on the left, check Brush Mask and expand the chevron. Select New and select Open. Locate and load the sphere.png alpha mask. Under Mapping, select View Plane. Expand the stroke chevron and under Stroke Method, select Line. Check Adjust Strength for spacing. Add a percentage of, for example, 100%. Set the dash ratio to 1, the dash sample to 1, and the jitter to 0. You want the face of the plane mesh to be facing the view. So with the mouse cursor hovered over the 3D editor window, select the number pad 7 key for top view. We also want to only paint on bump information. So in the Properties window on the right, uncheck Color. Check and select Normal, and select Layer Bump. Set the brush size to 20 pixels. Now paint on a line of rivets by pressing the left mouse button and dragging the mouse across the plane mesh. The rivet size is determined by the brush size. Increase the brush size to 50 pixels and paint on another row of rivets. The rivet size is also determined by the view distance. So if you were to accidentally zoom in or out at this time and then paint on more rivets, they will be a different size. You can mitigate against this by selecting the View tab in the 3D Editor Windows End panel, expanding the bookmark chevron, and bookmarking the view. Now if you change the view, you can return to the bookmark view by selecting the eye icon next to the name. And paint on more rivets of the same size. You can also erase rivets. In the Properties window on the left, set Mapping to Stencil and the Stroke method to Space. Increase the size of the stencil with Shift plus Alt plus right mouse button drag, and position the stencil with Alt plus right mouse button drag. Select Erase Alpha and left mouse button click to erase the rivets. When placing rivets, the first rivet is placed at the starting point of the line. So with a little care, you can extend a line of rivets by carefully choosing the point to start the next line of rivets. Overlaying the first rivet on the last may also facilitate extension, particularly if you want to change direction. Be sure to save your painting by selecting Save Images. Otherwise, your painted rivets will not be saved when you save your Blender file. In the Preferences window, you can set PBR Painter to auto-save textures and even select the interval of the save. But the lowest interval is 1 minute. So there is always a chance you could lose images if you don't manually save. Painting rows of rivets on curved surfaces requires that the surface being painted on is always facing forward. This can be facilitated by using the keyboard shortcut Shift plus the 7 key to snap the selected face into forward view. Normal stamps can also be used to add details such as rivets or bolts. In a previous video, I described a method for creating normal stamps based on Workflow for Creating Normal Decals in Blender by C.G. Cookie. The method is described at minute 32 in the video Blender to Trainz Blender 3 Beginner Course 27 Suitcase Texturing. Normal stamps can be created by using a Blender file template. A copy Create Normal Stamp Template.blend is provided in a link to this video. Bolts can be created using Blender's built-in add-on Bolt Factory. If it is not activated, open the Preferences window. Select the Add-on tab. Search for the add-on Bolt Factory and activate by checking the box. Be sure to save your preferences. Select the Add menu, then Mesh, and then select Bolt. When making normal stamps, keep in mind that changes in angles of planes enhances stamp detail. Adding bevels to edges that will be seen, even exaggerating them, will enhance the normal stamp detail.